right, that's pretty dope.
Looks like there's a beat drop too.
I'm going that far into it. There we go. I like it.
All right.
Nice little thing.
So,
This little intro, right? This little.
first little intro. So actually, something I didn't tell Peter, but I told Markello, because Peter wasn't on with us yesterday, and we didn't record, but we almost recorded. So actually, besides our new theme song, we're actually also, if you want to listen to us on Just Audio, we're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and Anchor. So we're waiting for Apple. Apple takes 10 to 14 days, but this going forward will be on three out of the three main spots for podcasts, and YouTube, of course, if you still want to watch our beautiful faces. So, but anyway, another power rankings video. Defenses. So for me, this was actually harder than doing actual power rankings for teams, and even quarterback rankings. I thought were a little bit easier. For some reason, my defenses, me and Markello kind of went spoil it for each other. We actually have pretty different rankings. And Peter, we're in the unknown.
So I'm the one surprise.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure Peter's gonna be a good
Yeah, me and Ryan ran through this yesterday, so kind of know what to expect from each other.
I don't think I usually have bold takes. I think I'll be pretty standard.
I think you have some different takes, which is good usually. So, but it's usually me and Markello have pretty similar, at least in the rankings video so far. But this one, I think, outside of we'll start. You 32, go 32 to 1. I'd be surprised if anyone didn't have Houston, honestly.
Their college roster.
But yeah, it's a given.
I said this to Markello yesterday. It's what do they have? Maybe a decent secondary, like Desmond King and Roby. I couldn't think of anything else on the defense that I'm excited.
Yeah, but if you can't get to the quarterback in 10 seconds, it doesn't matter how good your corner is.
I know. But at least the one silver lining is all right, they have a decent two corners, and everything else is there's no pass rush, no linebackers, and no safeties. And they're going to be on the field for 40 minutes every single game.
Yeah, that offense is going to be really, really bad, even with Tyrod Taylor, because obviously it's not going to be David Mills.
Okay, so that one's pretty standard. I'd be shocked even if not just us, but anybody had a different 32. 31, I think this is where we're going to start to change it up. For me, I have the Bengals.
Wow, okay. I mean, I'm not far off, but
I'm not too far off either, but I have the Lions down here.
Peter?
I have the Raiders.
Okay. Nice. So 3 different teams.
Why? Who do you like in Las Vegas right now? It's on that defensive side of the ball.
Look, they haven't got
Yannick.
They have a decent line with Crosby. I don't know.
4th overall pick in Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah, dude. I feel like they have
that doesn't mean nothing to me.
blocks there, as opposed to
I don't care where you're drafted. You don't
what do you like about the Lions other than Jeff Okudah?
I mean, I have the Lions at 30. It's not even Jeff Okudah. I love their defensive line. I like it more than Las Vegas's.
Yeah. My Lions are not coming up yet. They're coming up not right now. So I
don't know if I take them over Vegas's line just because they're getting a little bit older too as well.
If you want to make the argument for the Raiders secondary is better, I might give you that one, but I think Detroit's gonna have a better defensive line and a better coached defensive line at that too.
I don't want to talk about Detroit yet because they're coming up for me. They're actually a couple spots ahead. But
hey, go into your Cincinnati take.
So yeah, I explained this to Markello yesterday. I'm even compare them to Jacksonville, the Raiders, and who did you say, Peter? Oh, you said the Raiders, right? But you said the Lions, right? The Bengals have nothing. They have some depth pieces, but I'm not excited for any single player on the Bengals. It's they lost Carl Lawson, they lost William Jackson. They replaced him with depth pieces like Awuzie and Mike Hilton are decent corners, but they don't get me over the moon excited. Trey Waynes is coming back. Okay, he's also a number 2 corner. So I just feel they don't have DJ Reader for me is their best player on defense, which is fine. He's a good nose tackle. It's just where's the pass rush? I don't think Trey Henderson is very good, if we're being honest. Just going back to his sacks last year, I think he was the result of the Saints just blitzing a lot and just him being on a good defense, but him being forced into the number 1 role, I don't think is. I don't care how much money he's going to make. I just don't think it's wise for the Bengals. He's probably going to end up with 5 or 6 sacks. So I don't know. Like we're like I don't see anything on the Bengals that's like super flashy. That's super good. At least for like the Raiders and even the Lions, like there's pieces or like unknown pieces that kind of get you excited. Like the Bengals for me just have like decent depth with like no star quality players on the defense.
Look, I understand it. I have them bottom four too. So let me just get it out of the way. I had the Texans 32, 31 Raiders, 30 Lions, and then 29 I had the Bengals. I just thought it was too much of a loss to lose your number one pass rusher, number one corner in the same offseason,
Yeah,
and then not be able to replace them with the same caliber of player. And
yeah,
you were already bottom of the league in defense, and then you lost your best defensive players at that.
yeah. That's my main point about with
So
them.
again, we're all not far off in the bottom four. I mean, I don't know where you guys have the Raiders, but
They're coming
I
up,
have.
but 30.
I'm-
I have the Jaguars.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I knew it was gonna hurt Peter. I have the Falcons at 30.
Peter, who do you have at 30?
30, I have the Lions, and then 29, the Bengals.
29, I also have the Bengals.
But that's more so because of how much more, like we said, how Houston's defense is always going to be on the field. I have a feeling it's going to be like that for Detroit as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I have just the Bengals just one more on top of them, because I just think the Bengals offense is so good that you could actually give the defense a breather once in a while.
That's fair. So
I only put the Falcons down to 30 because I feel like the downfall of that team is their defense.
Well, yeah, it's always been like that. And
Yeah, and I feel
honestly,
like
now it might be more so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they really have nobody at this point. Like who are
I
you
love
running out
Richie
there?
Grant. I love Richie Grant at safety.
That's the only piece that I like. It's the only piece that I genuinely like in
added.
their secondary.
The thing is, they just don't make great strides, like adding like star pieces to the defense, and whenever they do, it's one in a few, and they just can't. They first of all, they always struggle on the defensive line. The Falcons. I don't know what it is that they throw draft picks at it too, and they could just never hit.
It's only Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, so the Falcons I have at 28. So again, not far off. Those are like the bottom 5 teams, defensively at least.
So Atlanta I have a little bit higher than that, but same kind of range. So.
Well, going to your Jaguars take, why so low?
Yeah, because as much as they added in one offseason, like we can't forget I think they were the worst defense last year in football by a pretty wide margin.
That's just them being on the field a lot though too. Like that's another thing. They
Yeah.
have like good pieces there. I think I like the pieces in Jacksonville.
For the future, yes. Like you can, if we're comparing this to the Bengals, I absolutely agree with you. Like I can see bright spots on this defense. Like the secondary is much going to be better. Like it's not going to be like that again, where it's like, you can clean a pass on anybody and feel pretty good. The Jaguars added a lot. I think they are one of the worst defensive lines in football still. Like I know Josh Allen's come back healthy and everything. Besides him, nothing on that defensive line gets me excited, especially up like the middle. I think they're gonna like run over. Linebackers are super slow. Like I don't think Miles Jackson's quite been the same since like Telvin Smith's been gone. He hasn't been the same player since that championship game, that championship season they had, which is fine. He's still like decent. It's not like out of this world. So my favorite thing about the Jaguars is their secondary going forward. Even adding like Cisco in the second round or third round for safety. Like they have a young secondary, but like I told Markel yesterday, it's like CJ Henderson didn't have a great year last year, but for the 9th overall pick, we're expecting better. Shaquille Griffin, I think, is overpaid, but he's a decent corner, but still middle of the pack. And then who do they take? Tyson Campbell this year. So like they're throwing a lot of darts at the dartboard. So even if like one or two of these guys hit, it's going to be like a success and an upgrade. But for me, they still have like a long way to go to be a good defense. But they're on their way. Like I'm more excited about them than the Bengals right now.
I know.
Defensively speaking.
I just think it's kind of like I get it, because the thing that's tricky is a lot of the teams that I have, like let's say like 21 through 28, where I have the Falcons at 28, they're all good teams. Like all these teams can make the playoffs, except for like maybe, one or two of them. But they're just focusing on the defensive side of the football alone. That's where, we have them ranked so low, but it's a little bit tricky because they are good teams as a whole. So when you see a good team in the 20s, you're like, oh, what's that doing there?
Yeah, it's just like, so every defense probably has a weakness outside of like a top 3 or 4. So we'll get that out of the way now. It's just like for me, Jacksonville literally I think they have the worst, maybe besides Dallas, probably the worst like nose tackles in the league. Jacksonville, like specifically, because like Taven Bryan.
I feel like their downfall this year will be what the Panthers' like weakness on defense was last year, which was just youth and inexperience. I think that's what it's going to come down to more than talent, because I like the talent they added on that side of the ball.
Okay, that's fair. Like I said, I'm more excited for them than I am like with the
Obviously, their strong point of the defense is going to be the secondary, but I think the secondary is going to be strong enough, and it's not like you have bums. Like you have some high quality picks on the defensive line. It's just time for them, to take that next step. So if they take that next step, then they're going to be, around middle of the pack in terms of the NFL.
Before we move on, really quick, do you have confidence in like Chase on the first round pick from last year?
To take the steps, so like that's who I was kind of referring to just now. So I don't know if Urban Meyer could bring something out of him. I don't know if just a new team, a new system could bring anything out of him, or even if it's just one more year in the NFL, just having that year under his belt, another training camp, another preseason. I expect him to be better. I'm not going to call him a superstar, but I expect him to play better.
Okay, well, if he takes the next step, then then maybe you have a pass rush. So they won't be ranked this low then if he actually plays well.
Yeah, like you definitely have the pieces to be above. Like where you have 30, 29, 30. Yeah. I mean, yeah. For now, I could like agree with you.
Not every player actually steps up in year 2.
That's what it is. Like you're banking on the step up, but
yeah, because if we really go through like NFL drafts, like a good draft is actually hitting on like a 30% rate.
I mean, look, I don't have him much further on my list, but I definitely don't have him down at 30.
Who do you guys have at 28, 29?
29, I have the Bengals. 28, I have the Raiders.
All right, so it's the same group.
29, I have the Raiders. 28, I have the Lions.
Okay, so we just got those teams out of the way. Me and Marco haven't said yet, though. We haven't ranked Jaguars. It was only on Ryan's list, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, 27?
Yep.
What do you guys got?
This is going to be my Eagles pick right here. I know I'm probably lower on the Eagles than you guys are, but
yeah, this is some NFC East bias.
I had the Cowboys speaking at
that. Look, dude, they're like, yeah, you have names.
Yeah,
like,
the Cowboys are slow, Ryan.
Yeah, I do.
I have the Cowboys as slow as well.
I shouldn't even be sounding surprised. I had them one more spot ahead. Ignore me.
Yeah.
How bad their secondary is.
Yeah.
Like we always know.
I like Kelvin Joseph, but
that's the other thing too. Like that's why I'm also ranking the Eagles like outside of Darius Slay. And then you have like your guys on the line that are always injured every year, and like Fletcher Cox. So
yeah, but if that line, you can't assume that line's gonna be unhealthy going in. So
dude, they're always there. They're always unhealthy though. We say this every year, like, oh yeah, it's a great line, and then like 4 or 5 weeks into the season, it's just like, oh well, Fletcher Cox is not going to play until like week 12, week 13. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, so I have the Eagles coming up, and not in this range. Like for me, the Cowboys are just legitimately bad on defense. And
I have them next. It's not like they're going much further. I have them next.
Yeah, I'm at 26.
Yeah, I'm at 26.
So does Peter.
So you guys are, I have them at 26. You guys aren't going to like my 27 pick then. I had the Tennessee Titans.
This is a horrible pick. Wow.
even with the additions that they added, like Bud Dupree and all these guys.
Don't do that.
I have them in a different range. There's so much uncertainty because they not only do they replace a lot, but like they literally added between free agency and draft like 6 or 7 new starters. So it's a lot to throw in.
But that's what I'm saying. So you add in all these new pieces, and I feel like half the pieces they added are injury risks to begin with. Like Bud Dupree, is he even like is he gonna be ready week 1?
Yeah, he should be.
But even if he is, so like my thing with him specifically was I thought like again he had a great year in Pittsburgh. I thought those stats were really inflated. Well, yeah, I don't think he's going to reach half of those sacks in Tennessee.
Yeah, you're playing opposite of TJ. I get it, but he'll still get.
It's not even that. I don't know. I don't trust this defensive line anywhere on it. I don't like anything on it. I think they got worse in the secondary, and I'm not a big fan of their linebacking core. So I compare them to Dallas, who have one more step up. Right? You have better names on your line in Tennessee, but in terms of production, I don't know how much of a gap it's going to be between them and Dallas. Right? And especially in the run game. Like, forget about getting to the quarterback. That's one thing, but defending the run is god awful in Tennessee.
Look,
linebacking core, I'm taking Dallas. Linebacking core, I'm taking Dallas. And Tennessee, I thought got worse in the secondary going into this year.
But I think Dallas has one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. So
So my thing was more so like it's surprising because Tennessee is a playoff caliber team. I know they just added Julio Jones, so everybody's like, "Oh, Tennessee," but we're not talking about the offense. We're not talking about special teams. We're not talking about what their record will be as at the end of the season. We're just talking about specifically their defense, and I'm just not a fan of it. I think it's bottom of the league.
All right, that's fair enough. I mean, that's a little bit lower than I would put them, but to each their own.
Yeah, they're not. So I just moved them right now after you said that, like a little bit higher than where I had them because there was a team that Markello kind of swayed me with yesterday that I put a little bit too low that I didn't mention yet. So they're coming up though.
Where are we right now?
I
Say,
think
I
we
just want to speak on the Cowboys a little bit because we have literally the same. You guys have the same ranking, and I have them one higher.
Yeah,
The secondary, like what else don't like for me? I'll say it now, bro. I don't think Micah Parsons is gonna be very good, and
yeah. I think you're overpopulated at linebacker, and
I don't think my favorite pick they made was Jabril Cox, and he was like the 4th round pick. And
yeah, but I don't think it's bad to have too many. Like you're honed on in the draft pick if they wasted whatever the 10th selection, whatever it was 10, 11, 12, whatever they traded back
I
for.
don't care how many linebackers they have because I'm not really a fan of any of them because Jalen Smith's not very good. He's on a huge contract, and Van Der Esch is good, but he's actually hurt all the time. So I don't
But
hate.
now you have the depth at a linebacker. So even if you don't like the Parsons pick, like if let's say Van Der Esch goes down and you're saying you don't like Jalen Smith, you could have Van Der Esch, Parsons, and Jabril
Like
Cox on the field at the same time. And I think if it's just Jalen Smith there, right, and then like some bum off the bench,
Well, Jalen, he might be cut and by the end.
even so, you have the depth. I'm saying like you take all these linebackers, right, and if they're by themselves, except for maybe Van Der Esch because he's good when he's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you put them by themselves, they're like not as effective, right? They just in terms of zone coverage, whatever you want to dive into. But if you have all these guys out on the field at the same time, you have the sideline to sideline ability. You could take out opposing run games, and you could pressure the quarterback. So you help out your defensive line in that aspect with your linebacking core. If you bull rush something like Parsons, I'm not saying line them up on the defensive line, but if you use them with some kind of blitz packages or whoever it is, and you just get your linebackers implemented and rushing the passer, or just hawking the line of scrimmage and just hanging around there, it's going to help out that bad secondary. Again, I don't want to make them sound like I have them good. I have them ranked 26.
There's some silver lining with them. Like if Demarcus Lawrence can get back to form and play well, like I was telling Markello this yesterday, like I want them to play Randy Gregory almost full time opposite him. I feel like Gregory is really, really good, like or at least he can be when he's actually on the field. But like I really hope Tristan Hill doesn't play this year at 3 Tech. I think he was like the worst one in the league last year. So I know Dallas drafted some pieces there, so hopefully like a rookie plays. But yeah, the secondary is kind of young. But if, like you said, what's his name, Kelvin Joseph plays well, and Diggs from last year actually takes a step up in year 2, it can be better than it was last year for sure.
Yeah, but last year was like last in the league, so being better doesn't really say that much.
Well, I mean, it matters. Like if Dak is healthy and they can make a few.
But look, I'm not guessing them up. I have them at 26, which is still bottom of the league.
Okay, cool. So 26 is a team I think you both mentioned already. I have the Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah, so for a lot of the reasons you guys mentioned, the only silver lining for me is like they have Grady Jarrett. Like I think
that's fine.
Probably the
We're
best
only a 2-spot difference with that team.
Yeah, and then Deion Jones is pretty good, and like the rest is like a work in progress.
The thing is with the defenses, they could all really be interchangeable because it's such like a hard thing to grade.
Kind of the bottom of the league defenses with like a lot of questions or a lot of young players. At least for the Falcons, they gave me like one star player, and then Deion Jones I think is very, very good linebacker.
I think they do have good role players.
So yeah, so if they can hit on a secondary piece or two like Richie Grant and hopefully like one of their young corners, they could be like not a good defense but like decent.
Yeah, I got you. All right, where are we at? 25?
Yep.
What you guys got?
I want to hear this. I have the Seahawks.
Oh, as do I. I have them ranked 25.
Oh man, this is where I have my Jaguars.
I'm glad we have 25 in Seattle. I am. I looking at the rankings to Seattle for me, just like growing up, have been like a top 10 defense, top 5 for a while. But the last couple of years, you've been paying close attention. They've been nowhere near that. They've been like almost gearing down as we go, like year by year. And
it only gets worse because every year is just one more year of added age to Bobby Wagner, which is really the only spotlight on that defense.
Yeah, literally probably the best linebacker in football, first or second, maybe on based on your preference, but someone who's super, super good. Outside of him, like KJ Wright's not back yet. Like maybe if they sign him, maybe I move him up a spot or two. Wouldn't be like that generous, but he's a good player. They have like I talked about this with Markel yesterday. It's like they have depth on the defensive line, but there's no like star players. Like they brought back Dunlap. They signed a few like pass rushers like Benson, Mayoa, and Kerry Hyder. Like they're not good players, but they're not like bad. Like they can come in and be like situational pass rushers. But I feel like they kind of wasted picks over the years, like LJ Collar, who's like
Yeah,
he doesn't
so
play
many
at all.
first round picks they've wasted.
Rasheem Green's like a second round pick who never plays on the defensive end. So just a lot of players who aren't playing, unfortunately, for them. Jordan Brooks, I'm actually I think they're actually going to play him in the KJ Wright role. So I don't know if maybe that's why they're not bringing him back, but hopefully he plays like better this year. And Jamal Adams got to play better this year for the picks they gave up for him because.
Well, yeah, look, I think they knew the front office that they kept missing on their picks on defense, which is why they went through with the Jamal Adams thing. Because at the time of the trade, Jamal Adams was considered the best safety in the league. He was on his hot streak in New York. He was dominating on that side of the ball. It's just that Jets are always on defense.
He's got to get back to that form though for them because if he plays like that, they'll step up a little bit the defense.
Yeah, 100%. Because then you'll have a top 5 safety, and you'll have your top 2-3 linebacker. So.
Yeah. And even like Dunlap was playing good last year, but yeah, and the secondary is one of the bottom 3 in the league, I think, right?
Well, yeah, but they've been getting thrown all over ever since the Legion of Boom like disformed. So for years now, they've been getting thrown all over.
I feel like even worse about the secondary than I have.
Damn, man. Now you guys are really swaying me to switch my pick to 25 to the Seahawks and move the Jaguars up a spot.
Well, let's get into that because I have the Jaguars at 24. So you want to talk about the Jaguars since you have them at 25?
Well, now you guys just swayed me to put them at 24 with all these points.
All right, good. We agree. We both have the Jaguars at 24 then.
25 for Seattle.
I could even slide them up like 1 or 2 spots because I have the Titans at 23. So I might even slide the Titans back to 24 and then put the Jaguars at 23.
Well, the only silver lining for Seattle is like they have Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. I think he'll come back to at least close to what we've seen in New York. I don't think it'll be as bad as last year.
I don't think.
No, but yeah, either way, like you guys made valid points, and they just been getting thrown all over every season, and they can't do anything about it.
So you can move them, but
I did move them, dude.
All right, so we all
not to talk about the Jaguars for too much because Ryan already touched on it. I just have more faith. Like I said, I think their secondary is going to be like crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually the secondary will compensate and give the pass rush more time. Usually it's vice versa, but I think it'll be the secondary helping out the front.
I'm basically in the same boat. Like I'm just making on guys to really take like year 2 leaps.
And not even that, I think the rookies will be good right away.
Like Tyson Campbell.
I think they'll contribute. Yeah. No, I do. I think I'm not saying they'll be top of the league. I had them ranked 24 and whatever on defense, but
step up from last year, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, I think these are the kind of rookies that will contribute right away. Like the rookies they add on the defensive side of the ball are first round talents. And you're not asking them to be the star, which I think is important.
Yeah, that's fair. Jacksonville had obviously a lot of picks this year too from the Jalen Ramsey trade, so they definitely
you bring over Griffin, you still have CJ Henderson. You know what I mean? Like you're not asking too much of Cisco, and you're not asking too much of Campbell. Like it's good.
3 corners deep, like they're definitely expected to be one of the best like trios in the league because a lot of teams struggle with secondary.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that carries them to at least a 24 ranking. That's where my mindset was at.
Okay. Well, I think Marcellus, you guys have the same rankings, right, for Jacksonville? So you guys are.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm going to move the Titans into 24 now and then put Jacksonville at 23.
Okay, so I also moved the Titans. I had them at 22 originally, but Peter kind of swayed me. I was like, I didn't know where to put them because I do think they'll be better than they were last year. I don't know where they were ranked last year, but it just seemed like every single week there was like issues with the Tennessee's defense. And then just watching them in the playoffs, like how bad they were. And even at the end of the year last year, there was games where like the Texans were going like toe to toe with them. And that's nothing against Deshaun Watson because he was phenomenal last year. But there was teams who were like not equivalent or couldn't have been equivalent to like Tennessee, literally scoring like 30 points a week on the Titans. So I do think they got better. Like Bud Dupree's an addition. I think they got like Danico Autry. It's just a lot of new faces, and they needed it. But yeah, I don't like their linebacker core. Like Rashaan Evans, kind of a waste. I like Brown in the middle. I kind of like their secondary. I know they went the unconventional route and they cut like Dory Jackson. They just got rid of Butler, and they just added like Janoris Jenkins, Peter's favorite corner in the draft, Caleb Farley. Like, I
But
actually
the thing
think
is, and I love Farley. I think talent-wise, he's a top 5 pick, but we don't even know if he's going to be playing right now.
yeah, that's why I moved him down a little bit because like it's still questions. But they also drafted Elijah Molden for this slot, and they also have Christian Fulton who they took in round 2 last year. So I think they, out of all the teams, threw like a lot of the dartboard for the secondary. So even if 2 of these guys hit, I think they'll be better than they were last year. Because if we're being
That's
honest,
fair.
Dory Jackson played like 4 games last year. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
but there's still 24 for a reason. Like I think they're gonna get better. I just think that's a lot to ask for like basically a brand new defense, and they don't exactly like that's not gonna be their strength of the team. They just need it to be better than it was last year. If they want to make.
But look,
playoff.
in their defense, if they could, again, just run the ball with Derrick Henry, and now you have Julio Jones to extend drives too, if it's like 3rd and long.
Yeah,
If you could just keep the defense off the field, it'll help tremendously.
yeah, and Bud Dupree will make a difference in the pass rush. Because like last year it was only Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons to get to the quarterback.
I think you guys are just higher on Bud Dupree, but it's understandable with the year he had.
Well, I'm higher from Bud Dupree from what they had. Like Tennessee had like literally just Harold Landry for 2 years and nothing else. So
They had Clowney, but he just didn't really do anything.
yeah, how many games did
Clowney
Clowney play
sucks.
last year? Like 2.
Yeah.
So it's not even there.
So who do you guys have at 23 or 22? What do we have?
Yeah. So 24 was my Tennessee. 23 I had the Eagles.
As do I. That's crazy.
Okay, so we have what 2 rankings exactly the same,
Yeah, Seahawks and
which is
Eagles,
funny. Yeah, Eagles.
and not including the Texans.
So the Eagles have like I think Markel already mentioned them, so we touched on them. Like a really good defensive line. I think Markel is a little bit underselling them. I actually think they're like a top 5, top 6 defensive line in football.
No, dude, I think they're talented.
Yeah, but the reason why they're down here is because I'm looking at the secondary like Markello did, and I'm seeing Darius Slay and a bunch of like what's going on at cornerback 2, what's going on at cornerback 3, where's the depth, and then the safeties aren't very good. So like that's the whole question for Philly. They couldn't fix everything in one offseason. I feel like they kind of helped Jalen Hurts out. Like they just focused on the offense this offseason, which is fine. They had limited cap anyway and draft picks. But yeah, this is, and I don't know, even the year they won the Super Bowl, I wasn't even that confident in the Eagles secondary. For some reason, it's kind of always a question with them.
But they had guys making plays that year.
No, I know. That's because like how good their front was that year. But I even have questions about their linebackers this year too, which I didn't really have in the past. But yeah, I feel like this Eagles team is kind of like gearing down from where they were in the past, which is fair. Fletcher Cox is getting older, but for right now, like Brandon Graham's still a beast. I don't care how old he is, and Fletcher Cox is still one of the best defense tackles.
And they just have depth at the line. So even if you have to do sub packages.
Yeah. So their pass rush is good enough for me just to rank them at 23.
But to be fair, I really do think I think it's like a tier, like 23 to let's say 26. I think those teams could be interchangeable.
Okay.
Or even 27 if you want to go that far down.
Yeah, I agree. So my neck kind of rankings are like a different tier than where we've been doing.
Again, it really all depends, like you said, like let's say with Tennessee, like if the stuff sticks to the wall, right? Like if you have just a few hit, then it changes a little bit. It'll help you for better or for worse.
Okay, so who you guys have at 22?
I have the Panthers.
Oh,
I know.
Not a good take.
Peter.
Not a good take. Not a good take. 22nd in the league.
Yes, bro.
Peter,
not a good take.
What are you banking on? You're banking on JC Horn outperforming.
I don't have to bank on anything. They're ready. It's here. It's time.
I don't know.
It's time. Unfortunately, I don't want it to be time. It's time.
So Peter, who do you have at 22?
I mean, look, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Minnesota Vikings.
That's crazy because I also have the Vikings.
Really?
I do.
That's pretty. Yeah. Okay.
I'll show you my screen. I'm reading.
I couldn't sway you guys on that. I couldn't sway you on that yesterday, Ryan, to put them up a little bit higher.
Yeah, Markello made a good point. Like, I'm just still unsure Hunter's going to play. Peter, I don't know if that factored into your.
It did. I assumed he wasn't going to be there.
All right, so that's what it is. I factored that he was, so that's why I have him a little.
So damn. They're kind of like the Eagles for me. Where like if Hunter plays, they might move up a spot or two because like he's that good of a player.
I don't think it's drastic even with him.
I think he's like the 3rd best pass rusher.
No, I'm saying in terms of rankings.
I think he can move up a spot for me. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, but the spot's fine. Moving up a spot's fine because right now
the Vikings aren't.
My 23 and 22 are interchangeable.
The Vikings for me are
or
just
22,
kind of
21.
like I went over this with Markel yesterday. They're kind of old. Like Harrison Smith's in his mid-30s now. Like he's still a good player, but it's not like where they were a couple of years ago. Like in my opinion, I don't care how much money he makes. Like Anthony Barr is not a good linebacker. Like he can make the Pro Bowl every year, be voted in. He's just not like a good line. Eric Kendricks is really good. Like I like what they did with the secondary. Like they just added a lot. Like Patrick Peterson, Breland, a lot of like veterans, so they don't have to go through what they did last year. And obviously, they drafted a bunch of rookies last year, so they're hoping like 1 or 2 steps up. So I'm actually kind of excited to see like their secondary play this year. It's just like if Hunter doesn't play, man, where are we getting the pass rush? And it's just that's my only question. It's like if Hunter doesn't play, they're actually one of the bottom like defensive lines of football, and they got ran over last year too. So I don't think they added Dalvin Tomlinson, so he'll help with that from the Giants. But just I don't know. And Hunter doesn't seem happy there, so I feel like he's not going to be a Viking this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't even got to add on to it.
So 21, I'm not going to be Peter's not going to be very happy. I have Panthers.
I don't get it.
Yeah, you see what I'm talking about, dude? Because you're banking on a lot with the Panthers. You're banking on a lot with the Panthers. Yes, you are. You're banking. You're banking.
No, stuff with like Tennessee is banking, or like
no, dude, you're banking with the Panthers as well.
Banking.
You're banking with the Panthers as well.
So yeah, like I'm excited for the Panthers.
I'm not saying they're a bad team. They have a lot of potential, dude. But you're banking on like guys like J.C. Horn. You're banking on him to come in and like immediately be like a great corner. Because the other guy on the other side of him is AJ Bouye, dude.
What are we gonna do as a podcast show when the Panthers make the playoffs?
Well, listen, this is before we enter the season. So like,
can we please? You know what the worst part is? Jeez. You guys are making me seem like a Carolina fan. That's the worst part in all of this. And all these episodes we're doing. Like,
a lot of these teams coming up, like we said, they're in the same tier. So like a lot. So for me, from 22, which we just did the Vikings, all the way to about 15, these defenses are very, very like I could flip like this every single week in the NFL season. Like there's not that much of a difference between like my up and coming. Like for the Panthers, like out of all these teams, I'm actually excited for because they have young talent. Like I know what they did last year, Peter. Like I love Brian Burns. I think he's one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL. Like I like Derek Brown. I'm not in love with their linebackers, but like I do like what they finally did with the second.
They got better at linebacker though.
Yeah, but like Shaq Thompson isn't really that good for me. It's okay. The linebackers are just like
they added Reddick too. No, like I don't know. I think
but like if you guys go back and watch, like Reddick sacks came against like
no, I'm not even saying production wise. I'm just saying being on the field, being that fast kind of linebacker that they need, because you don't need to add a star as long as they improve that their linebacking core, because they're going to be drastically improved every position they improve.
What Reddick are you getting?
Like all you need is a sideline linebacker.
I know, but that's all.
To start implementing different defensive schemes.
I understand it, and that's like that sounds good, and I like Reddick. I hope he plays like he did.
Linebacker doesn't need to be the star of their team because they have that elsewhere.
Okay, but like for me, that's a weakness. That's why I have him down here, and the secondary for me is still like a question mark.
The secondary is going to come out booming.
But why? Like AJ Boyd
because
in his 30s.
See, like again, like I like J.C. Horn too. He was a great prospect, but you don't know what's going to happen when he hits NFL. Like you know, what I mean.
Like I do think Horn's actually I think Horn actually might be their best corner in year one. Which is
that's fine, but they just as long as they step more away from his own defense and stop relying on that so much, that's what I think is going to be the difference maker. I don't even think Sam Darnold's a difference maker. I think it's going to be their defensive scheme.
Well, they told you what they thought about Sam Darnold. They kept trading down in the draft to stock up for next year, just in case. So
that's fine. I don't know.
If it makes you feel better,
we'll
I have the Vikings not too far up either, Peter. Like I'm not dragging down the Panthers on this.
A little bit.
The Panthers are going to be exciting. Like they added a lot of talent over the past year and a half, past 2 off seasons for defense. It's drastically different from where they started back literally where they took an entire draft class in 2019, right? 2020 for like their whole entire draft class was literally defense. So like, and if we would have done our rankings last year before the season, I think the Panthers would have been in bottom 3 defense.
All right, let's get on with it because
for me that's drastically improved. They're in a different tier for me. They're not in the bottom. They're not even in the second bottom tier.
Peter's hurt right now.
They're in like the middle of the pack tier.
You didn't rank the middle of the pack.
No, but like I said, my teams from 22 to 15 are very, very interchangeable, like week to week basis. And not only that, out of all these teams, outside of like one other team, a lot of these teams are just aging. Like the Panthers are going in the actual right direction, and these teams are going in the wrong direction.
21, I have the Chicago Bears.
Damn, I thought I was too high, like too
That's
high,
crazy.
low on them.
No, I'm pretty low on them. I just every year, ever since that 1 year where they finished number one, I just think it's been a steady decline. I think it's going to
That's
keep going in that
crazy, bro. I
direction.
have the Packers here.
Oh, that's a little low. They were just in the NFC Championship game. Who'd they lose?
Yeah, they're in the NFC Championship game every year because of Aaron Rodgers.
All right, forget
Putting
about
up
the
40
offense.
points a game.
Forget about the offense.
Dude, if you have to put up 40 points a game, your defense is not good.
I don't know. I don't think their defense is in the 20s.
Outside of Jair Alexander and like Kenny Clark, who you running with?
Oh man, but dude, you're
Outside of
not understanding.
Jair Alexander and Kenny Clark, who you rocking with on
But
that?
you can name the two best players on the defense. It
I'm
doesn't mean
just
the rest of the
saying.
players are scrubs.
I don't know, man. Their corners a big issue.
Going into last year, their biggest issue was stopping the run. They couldn't do it, and I think they got better at it last year.
And they even got burnt over top. Their secondary corner is not good, bro. You're rocking.
I don't even like Eric Stokes. But
Believe in
still,
Eric Stokes, bro. Believe in him.
I don't even like
know.
Eric Stokes, but now you don't have to rely on Kevin Kenny.
I guess, but like now you're banking on Eric Stokes.
You are banking on Eric Stokes.
I'm banking on him. I have them higher. I have the Packers in a different, like they're way higher than that.
I'm with you, Ryan. I have the Bears. Anyway, the Bears are on a steady decline.
The Bears are 21 or 20 for you.
21.
Okay.
Because my thing is, you still have Khalil Mack there, which is great, but again, ever since that 1 year where they finished number one in defense, I feel like their defensive line's always hurt and in and out of the rotation. Let's get that start. Whether it takes,
I'm gonna move the Bears up one spot.
All right, that's fine. You lose your number one corner in the offseason for no apparent reason. There was no logical reason to let go of Fuller. And even with him, they still would have been around this area of being low. It would have been higher with him, but your secondary gets worse.
Yeah, Akeem Hicks might be on the way out too.
I think your front seven gets worse every year that passes. So what are we really excited about on this defense except for Khalil Mack?
Yeah, like Roquan Smith, like Jalen Johnson. I don't know.
I like their linebackers. That's fine.
Yeah,
Again, I'm not saying they're horrible. I have them ranked 21. I think that's decent. You'll have your good weeks, but if your linebackers aren't playing the best game of their career, can you really rely on this defense? And not for nothing, I love Justin Fields and we're hearing good things, but whether he gets to start or not, offensively, do they have enough pieces to be staying on the field for long, 13 play drives? I don't think so. So this defense, once again, just like every other year, is going to be out on the field a lot.
I just think we're in the same boat as Ryan here saying like, yeah, I guess you can interchange these teams. I don't know. Like I have the Bears in 19, but
I just moved them to 19 from 18.
So I have the Vikings 20 and then the Bears 19, but like, man.
So 20, I had the Cardinals, 19, the Bears, I guess. But I actually kind of like now you're kind of convincing me to put the Cardinals at 19. Like, it's only one spot difference.
Like, I have them at 17.
It's just because like at least for the
Cardinals at 17, yeah.
I'm getting like Chandler Jones. I'm getting like even though
that defensive line is going to be really good this year.
JJ Watt's not the same. He's still a good player. And like in this kind of defense, he's not going to be like the tension's not going to be on him because
their issue is going to be their secondary.
I know that's why I had to lower them. It's because of how bad the secondary. Like it's Budda Baker, and then what else are we doing? Like it's scrubs.
I'm with you.
So 19, I just put the Bears. You kind of covered all the main points. 18 is a team that I'm probably too low on, but I wanted to be like pessimistic. I put the Jets here, and it's really the same kind of issues with the Cardinals. It's like what's going on in the secondary. Now I think for the Jets we're a little bit different because like we're running what Seattle does. Like we have Salah, so like I don't think our secondary. I think it's being a little bit blown out of proportion. I think we'll be okay, not like good or not great for obvious reasons, but I think the Jets have like the third best defense line in football behind like literally the Washington football team and the Steelers. I just think like I don't know where they're going to rank this year, but it wouldn't surprise me the Jets are closer to 10 than they are to 20.
Yeah, Ryan, you swayed me on this yesterday as well. I moved them up to 18.
So yeah, like right now I want to be like I'll hold the line a little bit because the secondary is questionable. It's still year one of Salah, but we've seen what he did last year with the San Francisco banged up team. The Jets do play in a tough division too, so like that factors into it. The schedule's a little bit hard this year again, so I feel like 18's fine. I feel like they're actually going to be higher though. So, but I would want to put them here for the preseason rankings.
I'm only putting you guys here because of your secondary.
That's me. That's my only question because I can see them back for the linebackers. The defensive line is insane. We go like
dude, you just literally have like fresh legs on that line at all times if you wanted to. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm actually going to slide the Cardinals down my rank. I had them at 17. I'm going to slide them down a few spots. The Jets, though, originally I had them at 19, but with the Cardinals sliding down, I guess you bumped that up to 18.
So I had the Jets at 19 yesterday. I just flipped them and the Bears. Because
Yeah, so we're all in the same range.
I'm more excited about the Jets going forward too than the Bears defensively.
We're all in the same range.
Okay, so this one's gonna be fun. 17, I have the Bills.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they're one of the most massively overrated defenses in the NFL. I think Markello agrees with me. I think it was a weakness last year. Like, I think that's not only what happened in the championship game, but like just overall, it's like Tre'Davious White, really, really good player. Like Matt Milano, very good player. Pretty good safeties and like Poyer and Hyde. And then what else is on the defense? Like for me, it's a massively overrated defensive line. Like Ed Oliver is decent, not worth like the 9th overall pick. I don't like Gregory Rousseau. Like Jerry Hughes is a good player, but at this point of his career, he's in his mid 30s, not an every down player anymore. I didn't even like AJ Epinesa last year, so I don't really like the direction they went for defensive line. I feel like that's kind of the pushover of the team where they get like run over. And I don't like outside of Tre'Davious White for the corner specifically. Like I don't like the other outside corner or the slot corner. I think it's like Levi Wallace. And so like going forward, I'm actually more excited about the Jets defense than I am for the Bills.
I have the Cardinals at 17. But Peter, why'd you move him down if you don't mind me asking?
It's really because at least with like so in terms of defense, Arizona and New York I think are similar. I think your strength is your defensive line.
Yeah.
And I actually think the Jets have better linebackers. So and again, this secondaries are similar, but honestly, I think the question marks that are in New York might actually work better in Saleh's defensive scheme than what will happen and end up happening in Arizona because you're still flip-flopping Isaiah Simmons. You don't know where you're putting him. Whether you could say you're putting him at linebacker, you could say you're putting him at safety. But at this point, are you going to be surprised if you see him taking reps at corner for what they need?
I mean, he could play slot corner.
But would you be surprised? Yeah, but would you be surprised if you saw that happening?
No, I'm not at all. But
so there's going to be another year of Isaiah Simmons playing, if he even sees the field again.
No, you don't take a guy in the where they take him at 10 last year or whatever.
2 years ago, yeah, but they barely played him.
Yeah, you don't not play.
First half of the year, he barely saw the field. So I think it's more concerning what's going on the latter half of the defense. Again, it's all interchangeable, but so because I have these teams flip flop now, what number are we at? 18?
Yeah,
17.
I was 17. Yeah,
18, 17, whatever. I have the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh man,
I think.
Right, so is it because they're always injured?
Yes.
All right, yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't want to put them that high, but like I had to like respect the names and respect what they do when they're on the field.
I think coming up, so not that crazy of a take.
Derwin James has missed more games in his career than he has played. I'm not banking on him playing a full season. I'm just not.
That's fair. That's fair.
And besides Bosa, who else do you have that's going to scare you in terms of a pass rusher?
I would say Melvin Ingram, but he's gone.
Gone.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram's gone. But I mean, I don't know.
And even when he was there, he was inconsistent. Call a spade a spade. He was inconsistent there.
He also played and he was healthy, but.
And even Bosa too, one of the best pass rushers in the league, but once again, another player who's missing time.
Hurt.
So
yeah,
again, that's just a defense I don't think is ever gonna. They had the names for it. Assuming everybody was healthy, they would have been top 10 every year that they were playing together.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like their.
But it's never come together, and I'm not gonna, be a betting man and put my money on. If I'm a betting man, I'd rather say that they're gonna be a worse defense rather than a better one.
Well, last year they were in the 20s ranked, so I highly doubt they're going to be worse.
I don't know. Like their offense, they're going to be better as a team because of the offense, 100%.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I have the Chargers at 14, so only a couple spots higher than you, and it's because
but that's high. I think that's a different tier when you get to the top 15. I think the top 15 and the bottom 15.
Let me try to sell you on this because I don't know if you know this, but they hired a new coach, pretty good defense coordinator, Brandon Staley. I trust that man to get. So the Rams have a really, really good defense, but there was clear like holes with the Rams over the past couple of years. And I feel like Staley kind of like almost put that entire team together in 1 year. So like, obviously it's a lot of praise. It's a lot of banking on, but apparently this guy Staley's like the Sean McVay of defense. So like, I'm kind of taking it it was only a 1 year sample. I get it, but like, I kind of trust him to put the pieces together. I actually like the Chargers secondary. I know you're not as high as I was on Asante Samuel Jr., and I'm banking on him to make a pretty big impact in year one. But I don't know. And Derwin James, even as long as he plays somewhat games this year, I hope he plays like 12 or 13, whatever. As long as he gets on the field, I think he's like the best safety, second best safety in football. But obviously, that's a lot to bank on. He hasn't played in like 2 years. But I don't know. I feel like they're going to be, and I feel like Joey Bosa actually was last year was the best pass rusher in football. So whether you want him 2 or 3,
you're making fair points. You're not saying anything outlandish. It's just
like they're
again,
still
even with the new defensive coordinator, like I feel like his thing was more of getting the most out of your talent, and that's not the issue that the Chargers have because they have talent.
They got to say
it's just a matter of being available, which they never are. So that's where my thing lies.
Fair enough.
If you tell me their defense plays the majority of the season, then yeah, you put them up 14 or wherever you have them.
Yeah, 14. Okay.
But for me, I have them here.
So who do you have at 16?
The Bills.
I had them at 17. So you can talk about them if you want.
I mean, you kind of hit every point. They're pretty overrated. Defensive line is kind of in shambles if you look at it. I don't like any of the guys they have there.
Yeah, I think this will be their downfall again. Like everyone mentions the running backs, but like who cares if you can't stop if the Chiefs are scoring 30 more points against you, you're done. You're not like the Bills aren't going to respond like that. So, Peter, who do you have at 16?
At 17 first, because I still have to do my 17. So for me, 17, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
I have them at 15. So.
Me too.
Close. Yeah, again, interchangeable.
Kind of
for me, I like what they did in the draft too. I did. I love their draft and the defensive players they're bringing in. Obviously, you love Jones on the defensive line, and you got him help, I think. But I feel like their secondary's been bad for how many years now, and I feel like they never address whether it's in free agency or high capital in the draft. They don't address it.
Well, yeah, they're kind of like
the same way, or
yeah. So like, I mean, they don't have Tre'Davious White, obviously, but I did like L'Jarius Sneed last year, like the undrafted free agent. I thought he was like an above average corner for someone who's undrafted. Like, yeah, that's pretty good. But outside of him, it's like a lot of questions. Like it's Tyrann Mathieu, and then what else are we doing at the other?
That's what I'm saying. So if you have Tyrann Mathieu, roaming around the field, being the box safety, whatever you need him to be.
Thornhill's not a bad safety deep. So.
And if you just give that team one star cornerback, I think it makes a world's difference.
Yeah, I agree with you. And me and Markel were talking about this yesterday. Outside of Chris Jones, I thought Frank Clark really disappointed last year. I think he went like AWOL during the playoffs too.
I think that's more so a down year than it is like a decline in his career, though.
No, but like it's something to factor in. It's like there was no help for Chris Jones last year, and they have one of the worst linebacker core in football.
Yeah, but I think I forgot the guy's name. They took a linebacker I really liked coming out.
Last year they took Willie Gay, who he didn't play that much, and then they took one this year, right? He's pretty good.
Yeah, the one they
at least
this year I liked.
So,
again, middle of the pack. I have them, like I said, 17.
They're kind of like the Bills for me. Like they're kind of like not. I don't think people overrate the Chiefs defense. So I think everyone kind of knows. Like it just it just average, maybe a little bit below.
Okay. So should I get into my 16 pick?
Yes, let's hear this.
This is finally where I have the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
At 16.
I think it's perfect. Not much of a difference.
I mean, yeah, it's not like you're going completely off.
For me, it was more of a difference because when you get into the top 16, I think there's a tier. I think this at 16 is a different tier than teams like, like we said, like the Jets, Cardinals.
I have that tier kicking in around like 13, like 12.
Me too. I'm all the way. Like I feel like a lot of these defenses are just not the same. Like different questions, like or different parts of their development, but like same kind of.
No, I don't want to talk about the Panthers too much, but again, I think that this is a playoff team to me. Every day that goes by is just another day where I'm like, okay, they're making a wild card.
So what's going to happen when the Jets beat them in week 1? Does your thing change?
They're not going to beat them in week 1. There's no shot.
$20 the Jets beat the Panthers week 1.
All right, $20.
I'll buy you. Not $20. I'll buy you McDonald's, whatever you want.
I'll buy you McDonald's. I'll get you your cookies. I'll get you your number 9.
The usual, the McChicken, all the usual stuff.
All right, we'll do that. Should we get into top 15 finally?
Yeah, but we didn't do 16. Did we?
No, we did.
No, we did do 16, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought no, we didn't because I skipped over my 16. I gave you 15 because the Chiefs were.
Oh, word.
Oh,
16,
okay.
16 for me was the Packers.
I have Packers at 15.
Kind of covered them already, so we don't need to. Yeah.
Okay. I have the Chiefs at 15 as well, Ryan.
Okay.
So 14, I have the Chargers. I think we already.
14, I have the Chargers as well.
Covered the Chargers. 13. This is a team that I think Markello really tried to sell me on yesterday. I actually think they're going to finish higher than here. So them and the Jets are my 2 rankings I don't feel that good about. Is actually the Broncos. I feel like they should be higher.
Oh,
That's what I said, dude. That is what I said. Oh man, thank you. Same reaction.
You guys don't want to hear. Yeah.
Markel has them ranked very, very high. So like I thought
As do I, Kello.
I agree. I think I'm a little bit too low on them. I do. Because like what they added in the secondary, like we're talking about Jacksonville. Let's talk about what Denver added in the secondary. Like that's a huge difference. And I trust Vic Fangio to run a good defense. Like it's not gonna be a surprise to me if they finish in the top 10. Like that's the talent they have. My only question for them still is it's not that they're gonna have a bad pass rush, but like is Von Miller the same at this point in his career, coming off an injury? And I do think Bradley Chubb's a little bit overrated.
Well, for both of them, they both need to be on the field.
So
that's their thing.
Still, like I don't know, I kind of want to move them up a couple of spots, but like these next couple teams, like this is where my different tier starts at 13. This is where like when we start talking about like elite defenses or like the top of the defenses in the NFL.
Okay.
So yeah, Denver, and just because of like I guess maybe this is kind of unfair to the defense, but like because the offense is talented too, but like is Drew Lock going to be able to sustain drives and Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, you can factor that in, I guess, but I'm just looking at straight like their defense is loaded.
I looked at it yesterday, one of the best secondaries in the NFL, great coaching, and like even the pass rush is still going to be good, like upper tier.
I like their linebackers that they have now too.
Really, that's my only question. Who do you like? Like Jewel, who else is there? Like Johnson.
Yeah, and they brought in one of the rookies I really liked.
Did they get? They got Browning right from Ohio State.
Yeah, from Ohio State. Okay, that's the guy. Yeah, and I loved him coming out. So I like I just love them as a team.
Yeah, this is the one I feel like a little bit I'm too low on them, but I don't know. It's preseason, so I just want to leave them.
Markel, where are you at?
For the 13?
Yeah,
I'm still at 15, but I'm asking where you are.
Oh, so why don't you do 15 and 14?
Yeah,
catch up to us when.
So 15, I have the Green Bay Packers. We talked about them, so I don't want to waste time. 14, this is close between my next three teams, but I'm going, and I know it's going to be lower than everybody in the league. 14, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm low on them. Yeah, I am. I think the offense is going to be worse. Big Ben should have retired. I hopefully the only chance they have of the defense staying off the field is if Najee Harris blows up. So there's still hope for them as an offense. I think because Claypool's that talented, you bring back Juju. There's still hope. I'm not saying it's completely doomed, but I don't think another year of Big Ben is what they needed because I don't think he could sustain a full NFL season. And their defense, I just thought got worse. Again, first of all, it's not their fault that they got hurt towards the end of last year. But they also lost pieces, and everybody on that defense is getting older. In the case of like TJ Watt, like it's fine, he's still in his prime. But for everybody, let's say like in their secondary, I'm not crazy about their linebackers like I used to be. I'm just not high on them as a talented group. In terms of obviously Mike Tomlin and coaching, they're top tier. But in terms of their division now and schedule and age, all things included, I don't see a path for them to be a top 10 defense in the NFL this year.
I get all the concerns. I'll talk about them because I do have them kind of in a different tier. So I had them like ranked way higher than that.
But I think everybody has them top 10.
Yeah, I did drop them off from where I had them last year. I think entering the year last year, they were my favorite defense in the NFL. So they definitely, I could see your points. And they definitely did lose some talent in the secondary. But I don't want to talk about them yet.
13, I had the Buffalo Bills. You talked about them. I guess I'm just higher on them than you are, but I have them at 13.
And 13 is not much of a difference for me.
No, okay.
Like out of all these teams before, like I don't want to mention Denver, I feel like the Jets are going to be better than these teams in like a year, maybe even half a season than these defenses. Like I know like the bias coming out a little bit on the Jets, but like I'm not really that biased on the Jets. You guys have been watching the show for a year. It's literally just because of the talent that we have and younger talent, like specifically. So, all right. So who do you have at? That was your 13, the Packers, or no?
No. 13 for me was what did I say, Steelers.
So 13
was Bills.
13 was the Bills. All right, cool.
I have the Saints at 13.
Well, that's higher than you had them yesterday.
I told you I moved them up a little bit.
Where'd you have them yesterday?
This man had the Saints.
I had them at 17 yesterday, dude.
It's rough, dude. We're still
way too low, bro.
I guess.
Again,
but like
we're not far off. I have the Saints right here at 12.
I mean, look, yeah, like I'm just really concerned.
I'm gonna fight you.
A lot of stuff on your defense, dude. Like a lot of different things on your defense. Cam Jordan, look. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Cam Jordan had a really bad year.
Really rough
I-
year.
And he's getting up there in age, so I don't even think it was just an off year. I just think
I think, yeah,
he's
he
just
started
not
to
a
hit the
star
regression.
pass rusher anymore. I think he's a
Yeah.
good pass rusher. I don't think he's a superstar anymore though. But
Yeah,
my
I
thing
mean-
is, we still have all of our guys. We just
No, look, yeah,
lost
you
our depth.
retain Lattimore, you retain Marcus Williams, like good. It's good stuff, but like I don't know, man. That line is really like Davenport's not proven. I wasn't a fan of the who's that? Your first round pick, Peyton Turner.
Yeah.
Then you guys
Peyton
take
Turner.
another linebacker for some reason in the second round. Like you guys are.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight you guys on this. I don't want to talk about them yet because they're coming. They're my.
I think it's just the front seven that's really doing it in
wait.
for me.
They're my top 10. The Saints. But
We'll bite our tongue on it. Who do you guys have at 12?
49ers.
I also have them in my top 10. I have the Browns here.
Oh man.
Um,
Yeah, dude, Ryan, that's a bad take, dude.
I
I
mean,
love the Browns.
this is the thing. It's like for me, like because Myles Garrett he got sick last year, obviously with COVID. So like I don't think the Browns defense was very good last year. I think there was like 2 good players on it. I think they got drastically better. So it wouldn't surprise me if they finished like 10th or 9th. Like Myles Garrett's come back, probably the best pass rusher in football. I love what they did with the secondary. They're my top 5 for secondaries, but this is a defense as a whole. I continue to love what Andrew Berry does as a GM. Like they keep adding talent, keep getting better every single offseason. For me, my only question about them is still like I love JOK. That was a great, unbelievable like value in the draft. I still like outside of him, like, and it's a lot to put on him in year 1. Like the linebackers for me are an issue, and the middle of the defense is that's one of my major issue. It's like what are we doing at nose tackle or defense tackle? Sheldon Richardson's gone. Larry, whatever, I can't pronounce his name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He's on the Bengals now. So the middle of the defense is my only question. Like, can they stop the run? Like they got Clowney, he'll help in that regard at the end. Hopefully Clowney can provide some juice next to Garrett. I mean, assuming this guy can stay healthy too. So Browns have a good defense, majorly improved. Secondary is going to be like the big addition. I had questions about like their linebackers and literally just the middle of the defense. That's why I had them ranked at 12.
I'm not going to talk about them because of how high I have them, so I'll get to them later.
Yeah, I have them a little bit higher than this, so I'm gonna.
I mean,
The only reason I had the 49ers this low was because I feel like they're another team that they have a great, defensive line when they play. So if we could see D Ford, Kinlaw, Bosa all together on that line together, it'd be amazing. But again, the secondary is like, who are you running at corner? Who are you running at safety? A lot of questions there.
Jason Verrett, baby, let's go.
Yeah, Jason Verrett's going to be your savior along with Jimmy Ward, and yeah, it's not very pretty. But they do arguably have one of the either 1 or 2 middle linebacker in football.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, the Niners coming up. The Niners are actually in my top 10. But before we get there, 11, I have the Colts.
As do I.
Yep. Oh wow, look at that. We all agree on one ranking.
3 for 3.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So it's been a while since we all agreed on one. Colts have a good defense. There's some games where they show dominance, like last year, like 3 or 4 a year, where it's like, okay, this is a top 5, top 10 defense. There's other games where like, okay, this is the middle of the pack defense, and then there's like 1 or 2 games where like, what's going on? Where's the defense?
And I think that all stemmed from these 2 things. There are 2 holes. They have good players all around. Even at these weakness spots, they have good players. They just need great players at these spots to put them over the hump, I feel like.
Yeah.
They need a great corner. That's what they're missing.
Agreed.
And they addressed in the draft. Let's see if they hit on it. They need pass rush.
They tried so many, like the last 2 years, they've been throwing so many darts at the dartboard. Like Kwity Paye, they took
So
the guy in round 2 this year, like coming off a torn ACL. They threw it again, another dart.
Yep. If the pass rush could hit, this team could make their push that they finally need
And we've seen the difference DeForest Buckner made last year, so they can get one more player like that. Where just like
add one more good
another
corner.
elite player, because looking at all 3 levels, like DeForest Buckner, top 5 defense tackle in the league. Darius Leonard, top 5 linebacker.
Yeah.
Even like, I mean, this is high praise for rookie. I think Julian Blackmon's going to be one of the best safeties in football.
Well, you need him to be with the the demise of that Malik Hooker pick.
Yeah, so I thought he was pretty like really good for rookie. Just the corners they drafted a lot, like Rocky was saying. Hopefully he steps up this year, takes the next.
I really like him, honestly. I like what I saw out of him last year.
But that's what I'm saying. You have good players everywhere. You just need that one great player in the secondary.
They need someone to emerge and become like consistently a top 10, top 15 corner where we can bank on them every single week. So
that's good. We have them all here. So now we've cracked the top 10.
Yes.
Who you guys had
Before
at
we move
10?
into the top 10, I feel like I'm almost like I almost feel bad not having Denver in. Like Cleveland, I feel like this is a fair range. I think they're going to finish around here. Maybe 11, maybe 10 Cleveland, but I feel like 12 is
Me
going
and
to
Markel haven't even mentioned them yet.
I know. But like Denver, I think between the teams I mentioned, it's going to be Denver and the Jets I'm wrong about. Maybe Cleveland, like 1 or 2 spots. So
Nah, but
let's enter
Cleveland's
the
gonna
top
finish
10.
within the top like 8.
Top 10, number 10,
Top
I have
8.
the New York Giants.
I
Uh,
think it's low for us, but you do what you gotta do, man.
Ed, take your top 10 credit, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
be
taking
greedy.
it. I'm just saying, like, we could have been top 8.
here's the thing, all right? Like it was only 1 year. All right, so I'm still optimistic. I'm still having a 10. I love the coaching. I mentioned this to Markello yesterday. Like Patrick Graham for me is top 5, top 10 defensive, like just coordinator. So like you give me confidence there. So many pieces now in the secondary when years you didn't have anything. Like Bradbury just an elite corner, and not only just him, like you added Dory Jackson. Just a lot of even draft picks over the year, like whether they converted slot corners to safeties, whatever. Like they just threw a lot at the dartboard, and a lot of it's sticking now for the secondary. Finally for the Giants. So I don't really have any issues with that. If we were ranking this on secondaries, the Giants would be in the top 5, top 6 in the league. It's just like what else? Like Blake Martinez really good last year. I get it. I don't really like the linebacker core in general for the Giants. I think you would agree with that, Mark.
That's the only weakness I think on that side of the ball.
Pretty big weakness, and I don't see any pass rushers still. Like I think last year's a lot of manufactured pass rush. Like Leonard Williams, okay, like maybe I'm lower on him than most people because I've seen what he did in New York. But is he a bad defense tackle? No, he's definitely above average. Like he gets even the years with the Jets, he definitely gets pressures, which last year turned into sacks for the Giants. I feel like that's gonna happen again. I just don't see anything outside of him. And I feel like Dalvin Tomlinson is a loss. Like they added like you have a lot of good run stuffers. Like I think you're gonna be top 5 in that. So like good secondary, you're gonna be able to stop the run because you added like Danny Shelton too. You still got like B.J. Hill, like the line and Dexter Lawrence, of course. So you still have the big boys in there. It's just like where's the juice coming from? Like the ends.
I think that's where they were going with like Aziz, but again, like for you to try and like bank on a rookie coming in and like
Being a
being that
star
guy
at that
off the
position
edge.
is hard.
But hopefully Aziz can be that
Yeah.
guy halfway through the year, even next year.
I mean, look, like we've also always done. I feel like our linebackers also like no names, granted, but they put in the work. They've done some like good things. I like Ojane Zimenez. I don't know if you guys know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's probably the only linebacker I like out of the ones we have right now, along with Blake Martinez. But
and it's funny because I think he should be playing defensive end. I think he's one of the only guys with juice on the team. So
he has the speed and he has like a little bit of he's got the size to do it. But
so Peter, who do you have at 10?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Wow. So you and Markel are lower, way lower.
I have the Steelers here, and then I have the Ravens at 9. So yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's not the end of the world losing Judon and Ngakoue, but it definitely hurts. And again, I understand they always make pass rushers every year out of these guys. So like, but I don't want to bank that somebody's going to emerge as pass rush and give you what Judon and Ngakoue were giving you. I still think the strength of their team is their secondary. And honestly, ever since CJ Mosley left, I haven't been impressed with their linebacking core. Patrick Queen, I understand people are high on him, and I was even high on him coming out. But I still have questions about him in coverage.
I had mentioned this to Markel yesterday. So I don't talk about the Ravens yet, but Patrick Queen was like, dude, he's one of the worst linebackers in the league last year.
Dude, he gets targeted. Like opposing quarterbacks target his zones and his responsibilities, his matchups.
That
he gets targeted on the field.
Game was bad. It was like, and it was on national TV too. So,
and I don't think there's anything he could do like physically to make up for it. So I think you have a hole at linebacker. I think I don't think you should cut him or trade him or anything like that. Like it's good. He's talented enough to be on the field, but you need somebody like next to him that, fits the profile.
Hopefully year 2 is different for him. Because like he's too talented to be like as bad as he was last year. So
yeah. So I have him at 10. And again, low. It's a top 10 defense. I think it's fair where I have him ranked.
Okay.
Considering, what they lost in the offseason and how they played at the end of the last season.
So I'll mention them in a little bit because I don't have them that low. I can see the concerns though. I do have concerns. I do. So 9, I have the Niners. A lot of the same reasons Markello mentioned when he had them at like 11 or 12. Love the team. I think they finished actually 9th last year, which is crazy after all their injuries. So like they're like, oh, how did they get worse? They didn't. They got much better because everyone's coming back healthy. Hopefully, we're assuming that. But you see, they're having issues again at training camp with injuries.
They already started.
Not even at training camp. OTAs. They had to cancel the rest of OTAs and they canceled mandatory minicamp because they literally lost like 2 guys already, gone for the year. So I don't know what's going on with the Niners. The Niners kind of remind me of the NFC version of the Chargers. Besides, they actually put together like a Super Bowl like window, like a Super Bowl team that one year. Just super talented, just never healthy. But I'm a little bit higher on the secondary than Markello is. Like there's still questions, of course, but like I feel like Barrett's pretty good. Jimmy Ward's like a decent safety. Even Tart is like middle of the pack. I like Kawan Williams, like one of the best slot corners in football. I have questions about like the other outside corner. I think they're going to play Emmanuel Mosley, so he's like kind of.
They need to bring back Richard Sherman.
Yeah, if he, I don't
They
think
need him.
I don't think he's
Yeah,
coming.
like desperately.
I don't think he's coming back though.
Realistically, where do you guys see Sherman going? Because he's still saying he's waiting till whatever training camp to go to a
Seattle.
contender.
The thing is, like, what, like, because a lot of the teams feel like these needs in the draft. Like, what team you think would like? I was thinking the Packers maybe, but they kind of got Stokes and they even brought back King. With, like, you know,
Maybe Seattle, but I don't consider Seattle to be a
yeah.
contender.
I was thinking
that
Seattle.
defense.
I was thinking Seattle.
But maybe Richard Sherman's mindset is, oh, they're just a good corner away from being a contender, and that's what I am.
And maybe he wants to like almost like right their wrong because I don't think they ended on very good terms. Maybe he wants to like you know, make up with the Seahawks because he's going to be a Hall of Famer and probably Ring of Honor for the Seahawks.
Yeah, maybe. So I guess that they would be the favorite. But either way, the 49ers are missing that length as
he can come.
yeah.
He can come play for Salah if he wants to sign a 2-year contract. He'd be ready
contender, Ryan. Contender.
Now he would actually help our corners, like the young ones.
I understand that, but he wants to win.
Big difference. He'd be like a coach on the field, honestly.
He wants to win. But I'm with you. I had the 49ers also ranked at 9 for the reasons you said. Everybody's coming back healthy now, and
higher than this, so we know what they're capable of. It's just like we're like on the fence about injuries, and
we need to start looking at their strength and conditioning team because this is too much now.
I know it's like, why is this happening every single year? Like,
are your guys not ready? Are you not
like practice? How is it not like a standard practice?
That's what I'm saying. There has to be some kind of looking at strength and conditioning in San Francisco.
So 8, I had the Dolphins.
I have the Giants.
I have the Giants at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, see, a top 8, man. A top 8. That's all I'm asking for.
You guys both mentioned
the top 8.
Let's hear from the Giants fan. Let's hear from Peter. Why do you have the Giants at 8?
I think, dude, outside of our linebackers, like Peter said, I think our linebackers is really like the only large issue. And I guess if you want to say like edge, yeah, but we manufacture like the pass rush anyway. So we're going to get like to the quarterback. We're going to pressure him.
Yeah, no, but doesn't that sound like bad? It's like, oh,
I mean, yeah, it sounds bad, but like at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, bro.
No, that's not the way to do it. How can we improve and get actual?
Oh, look, yeah, no, I understand. Look, granted, Dalvin Tomlinson was a loss, but we did need to lose one of those guys, and we weren't going to lose Leonard Williams after the year he just had. Granted, we had to pay him like he was Khalil Mack, and he's not no Khalil Mack. But I mean, look, I really like our defense, dude. I like our secondary, especially like you said. I think we are probably like top 5 in the league.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're great, dude. We're super deep.
Probably the deepest in the league.
Yeah, we're super deep though. We have like 5 or 6 guys that can probably play corner, and then like 2 or 3 guys can switch out like for safety because we converted Julian Love. So, like, if
we might even want to just have 2 linebackers on the field,
dude.
Yeah, you might even do that. You might play the big nickel.
Yeah, you might have to with that. With just the pieces you have on that defense, you might have to play big nickel and just one less linebacker, one more.
That would be excellent for coverage purposes, but like, are they get run over if they do that?
We play a little bit of everything though. We don't have like
that's
one
why that defensive
team.
line.
We have a lot of big boys though to stop the run too. Like
that's why it makes sense to run that defense.
Yeah,
that could work. If somebody's gonna make it work, it's gonna be Patrick Graham. So
let's just see if they do it. Maybe they just have more faith in their linebacking core than we do as fans, but we'll see. They have to be.
Yeah, I mean, I had him at 10. It's not like I didn't have him in the top 10. So
he's still.
I know. I'm just asking for a top 8.
I even talked pretty highly of them. So.
But Ryan did make a good point. Like, I don't think this is going to happen. But do you guys remember the year the Giants spent $200 million on the defense? They came out whatever, they were top of the league one year, and then the next year they fell off.
Yes, that was horrible, dude. We paid guys like Olivier Vernon, JPP. Yes, that was terrible, man. And then we couldn't afford anything else.
So
yeah, I don't think that's going to happen though, because I think this
is a very weird year though, in general in the NFL. Like you don't just because you had a good defense the year before doesn't guarantee you're going to have it again.
Yeah,
that's not just.
I don't think that's going to happen though. That's the thing.
If Patrick Graham left, I would have predicted the Giants would have been like they would have been in my 18 spot. Like
the biggest fall off, you think?
They would have fallen off massively. Yeah. So if he takes the job next year.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll start off because Ryan, I think you mentioned it, right? You had the Dolphins at 8.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so I have them at 7. It's not far off.
Yep.
Same thing. Their strength is their secondary, and their question marks, I guess you could say, is now linebacking. their linebacking core.
Yep.
And obviously you need to hope Jalen Phillips hits as pass rusher.
That's what I was
He
gonna
needs
say.
to be available.
I was saying this to Markel yesterday. Like I actually like the Dolphins' major improvement with Flores. Like we trust Flores as top, like one of the top defensive coordinators in the league. You just trust him every week, like game planning. Um, like I still don't understand losing Kyle Van Noy. Like I don't want to make a huge deal. It just for me
That
that's
had to be something behind the scenes.
yeah. It's like why did we get rid of Van? He actually like he didn't play every game last year because he was like injured. But when he did play, difference maker. Seeing what he did in New England. Um, I think they have probably the number one or two just like best two outside corners in football. Whether you want to argue Baltimore, the Dolphins, whatever. Like this, obviously two number one kind of caliber players. Um, Zach Cunningham's like an okay addition, like at linebacker. Still have questions there. Like Baker's okay, just like average. And I like Christian Wilkins and a few of these defensive linemen, but I don't think they're like proven. So my only
But
question
if Jalen Phillips hits, everybody on
that
the
was like a
defensive line, on the defense in general, gets
Jalen
elevated.
Phillips was like my favorite pass rusher in this past draft. Like outside of the injury, I thought incredible value. Obviously, people concerned about
Number
the
one
injury.
pass rusher at pick 18. Crazy.
Yeah, so, and I think he's gonna hit. So, I mean, unless he gets hurt again, that would be the only thing. So,
Yeah,
If you went into
outside
this
the
year's
Dolphins,
draft,
seven.
yeah, if you went into this year's draft, so me and Markel agree again, and you say that Jalen Phillips is going to play the full NFL season for you
Yeah.
next season, he's a top 5 pick probably, right?
top 5, top 8. So because it's pretty offensive heavy. I think
Because of the quarterbacks, because
yeah,
quarterback. I think he goes before the wide receivers.
I think he would have been the first defensive player taken if he was healthy.
100%. Yeah, that's a
You
given.
would have had
But I think
someone trading up for him for sure. There's no way.
maybe one
Like,
of the
he's
Super
not
Bowl
like
ready
he
teams.
wasn't like
who
a
just-
Chase Young prospect, but he was like
Or
that.
he could have gone to like
Yeah, but just
I
knowing the
actually-
NFL every
yeah.
year, besides this year,
I liked him
the
as a
number one pass rusher goes
I
up.
liked him as a prospect better than I did Bradley Chubb. And Bradley Chubb was taken like 5th overall.
Okay. All right.
Granted, like injury stuff, but just the player.
Number 6, who you guys got?
Number
The
7
Browns.
actually.
Oh, all right. So go
Eight
for
me
it.
with the Dolphins. 7, I have the Saints, so I have them ranked way higher than you guys.
Oh, that's really high,
I
Ryan.
think you guys need to put some respect on the Saints. Like especially you, Peter. You're a Saints fan. So like I hinted at this before, man. I don't think Trey Henderson's a big loss. Like I know what he got last year.
But
I
that's
think
not where I based it on.
no, but I'm just saying for my like this is just my opinion. Like I'm looking at teams like the Dolphins who have like actual holes on the defense. Like granted, like there's coaching and stuff, and like we're confident they're gonna be fine. But like the Saints to me don't have that many holes. Like, and I'm actually more excited than I've ever been for your linebacker core. Like this year, I'm hoping that you play Zach Bond. Like he didn't play last year in year
I
one.
don't think we're going to.
All right, but I'm assuming he's gonna play. I'm gonna bank on it. So like Demaro Davis, still one of the best linebackers in football since he's joined you. Like okay, like I actually think Davenport's gonna play well this year. I know that a lot of Saints fans probably don't want to hear it or probably like, oh, hold the line. He's not gonna play well. He's gonna be injured.
You're banking on too much is the problem.
I'm not banking on too much because we're doing this with all the teams. Like we just assumed the Dolphins are gonna have a good defensive line. I'm not so sure. But
My thing is with the Saints, the reason why I had them wherever I had them, I think 12, I think I had them, something like that.
like, hear me out before you counterpoint. All right.
All right, go
So
for
I
it.
know what you lost. You lost to Norris Jenkins, but for me, you kept all like the elite pieces.
I
Obviously,
get what you're saying.
you lost some depth. I'm also like, are we forgetting the Saints are one of the top 5, top 6 teams who draft like over the years? Like I know you guys weren't that high on the draft.
No.
I'm higher on it than you in terms of depth. Like I actually think Peyton Turner is going to be like decent year one. Like I'm talking not great. Like maybe 4 or 5 sacks. I think Davenport will step up this year. I think he'll have 8 or 9, whatever. I don't know what he has in the past, but I think he'll actually be like a decent pass rusher. Okay, maybe Cameron Jordan falls off a little bit. You lost Sheldon Rankins, but he hasn't been that healthy for you anyway. You still have David. How do you pronounce his name?
The
Onyemata.
long name. Yeah.
Yeah, good player, very good player. And I really liked who'd you draft? Debo.
Paulson Adebo.
Love him. Ball skills. I think he'll actually get a few turnovers.
Yeah,
And
so-
you guys have a great defense coordinator.
I understand everything you're saying.
So coaching, I don't have any problems. Like there's no glaring weaknesses for me than some of these other teams. Like I mentioned, like I'm more
Okay.
confident in the Saints defense line than I am the Dolphins.
I'm happy
The
you are.
linebacker core is actually better than the Dolphins, is it not?
I think so. Yes.
So that's 2 out of 3. Coaching, you can put like if you like Flores better, okay. I think it's a push, pretty close. And I'll take your safeties any day of the week over the Dolphins.
Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. I do. I just was in the mindset of I think there's more ways for things to go wrong for the Saints. It's more likely for things to go wrong than it is to go right.
Negative.
We lost. Our strength was not our superstars on defense. It was our depth. because we could rotate guys in and out.
But who did you
And
really
using
lose?
Trey Hendrickson's not going to hurt because I understand you like Peyton Turner, but our defensive end
I'm
position,
saying,
I know you
like,
think
I'm just
Davenport's going to be there. It's going to be a
definitely
revolving door. You're going to see Davenport opposite Cam Jordan. You're going to see Granderson opposite. You're going to see Turner, and you're going to see we signed a guy. I forget how to pronounce his name from Kansas City. That's really good. Underrated, slept on guy. Nobody knows about him.
Okay.
He came over from Kansas City. He's really good. He's going to see time too.
So great. We're good.
That's fine. But in terms of defensive tackle, one guy goes down. I'm worried about who comes up behind him. Linebacker, I love Demario Davis. I think he's the best at his position. But every year is just 1 year older, right? He's not young. He's in his early 30s. Okay. Cam Jordan, I think, is at the beginning of the end, unfortunately. So with the age of Demario and Cam Jordan concerning, our number 2 defensive end is a revolving door. I know you're higher on the rest of my linebacking core, like Vaughn and Pete Warner. I guess I'm not as high as on them.
Just compared to what the Saints have had in the past couple of years, like my only
But
like
it's unproven. I need to see it first before
unproven, right? But I'd rather have him than like AJ Klein or like Greg Robertson or who's the
I
other
just-
guy playing.
I need to see them
Kiko
do it.
Alonso. Come on, you're more excited than you've been.
I just needed. Well, I wanted.
And what happens if
Alexander
Quan Alexander comes back?
If he comes back, I'll feel a lot better. But again, it's all unproven stuff. Until he's signed, I'm not going to assume he's going to be there. So, and then I love Adebo too. Latimore's in a contract year and he's facing some legal stuff, so I think he's going to ball out to try to earn his money. Marcus Williams is due for. I don't know if he's going to get extended or not before the season, but he's going to ball out for his money regardless. Malcolm Jenkins, again, one of the best safeties in the league, also on the older side, and it's 1 year older. So it's just hard for me to see like the 2017 Saints defense.
We're not asking
And
them
then-
that.
No, but listen, so it's hard for me to look at that team's defense and then be like, oh yeah, this year is going to be similar to that, because I don't think it will be. And I don't have him far off. You have him whatever at 7. I have him at 12.
I think that for me, that's a different tier. Once you enter top 10, it's a different tier.
It is, and I just don't think we're in that tier. I think we're more on the unproven side compared to teams like the Ravens, the Colts. With this entering this year, like you said, defenses change every year.
Yeah,
So until I need this defense, the 2021 Saints defense, to prove it to me before I put them in an elite category. Because I'm banking on a rookie that I like to be corner 2. I know I'm going to get it for my safeties, my number 1 corner. I know I'm going to get it for my linebacker.
We've seen you have defenses as top 10 with like Eli Apple, so it's not really like.
No, yeah. I just want to see it. That's my only thing. I don't want to get my hopes up top 10, and then we get thrown for 500 yards against us week 1.
It's not gonna happen. You know that's not gonna happen.
All right. Well, I've seen too many bad years for me to have high hopes.
Okay, so let's move on. We covered the Saints a lot. You guys already talked about them. I tried making a case for them. I think I made a pretty good case. I think they're actually one of the most proven defenses in this top 10. 6, I had the Steelers, so I'm higher on them than you guys. I think you already mentioned them, Markel, right? Or no?
The Steelers, I had them at 10.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had them at whatever 13.
Yeah, so for me, they have the second or first best defensive line in football.
Even still?
Yeah, even still. Just defensive line. Like TJ Watt, one of the best. Cameron Hayward, Stephen Tuitt. I'm very high on Alex Highsmith, the rookie last year. I think like he came in and played like 70%, 80% of what Budget 3 did. And he cost like 1/4. The obviously it's a lot to bank on, but I feel like he already showed flashes, and he showed he's going to actually be a player who gets like, I'm going to say 7+ sacks. I just think he's in a great situation too, where he's going a one-on-one. Devin Bush has come back, so major loss last year. We've seen the impact when he didn't play. They have other guys, like the linebacker core is definitely not like a weakness, but it's not like a strength like it used to be. I think they cut Vince Williams. I'm not sure if he came back. They have like Robert Spinelli. He was okay last year at times, but as long as Devin Bush comes back, it'll be like a decent linebacker core, or with a great front. My only question with them is obviously the secondary. Like they got rid of Steven Nelson, and my biggest loss to them was like Mike Hilton, the slot corner. So like that's something they have to replace. Joe Hayden's getting up there in age. He's in his mid-30s now, so like definitely concerned about it. The pass rush should help. Having Devin Bush being like the field general should help. Minkah Fitzpatrick, another game changer. So like just one of the best safeties in football too. I like they have Cam Sutton. I think he's like a decent number 2 corner. So as long as Hayden and him kind of hold up, like it'll be a downgrade from what they had in the past year or two. But as long as they're not like, a couple years ago Steelers, I think they'll be like for me, still a top defense. Like it's not going to be the year like where Ben got hurt and like they got 8-8 somehow or 9-7 with like terrible offense and Rudolph. It's not going to be that kind of defense where like they were first or second in the league. They might even 6 might even be too high for them, but I still feel like they're going to be a top 10 defense in my opinion.
So I have the Browns at 6.
Another.
I know you were a little low on them.
I'm not low on them. I'm just saying, like for me, like the Steelers for me have a more complete defense than the Browns right now. But going forward, what defense would I want? Probably the Browns. If we're talking about it next offseason, you're just kind of putting all the young talent together. Well, the Steelers are such a good front, bro. That's why it's such a good front.
The Browns have a pretty good front as well too. Like I know you have problems with the guys in the middle, but
I do, and that's a major question for me because like how many teams do we see just like if like there's one glaring weakness like because the Browns have such a good secondary, I wouldn't even throw it that much against them if they can't stop the run. Like obviously you have to be balanced. But I'm just saying like if I'm seeing like Denzel Ward,
but you got to figure if you're just pounding the inside, you don't think they're going to actually stack the box on you, and
they will, but then it'll be one-on-one opportunities. Obviously, yeah, that's you can talk about any weakness on any defense. I'm just saying, like I think for me, the Steelers are more proven than the Browns for me on defensively speaking. Like I like the Browns overall better.
I just like what the Browns are coming in with as opposed to the Steelers this year.
Listen, I think the Browns are going to win the North, so I'm with you there. This is just defensively speaking. I'm taking the Steelers this year over the Browns.
I mean, fair enough.
Secondary, definitely the Browns.
Who do you have at 6, Peter?
I have the Patriots. I'm just lower on the Steelers than Ryan's saying. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not going to argue it because obviously like there's no right opinion.
Well,
I'm just lower on them.
There'll be right opinion. There'll be right opinion. There'll be facts soon enough.
Debatable. I have the Patriots at 6.
That's low for them.
I had them at 5. So.
I mean, okay. As a low, you're top 6 in the NFL. I think.
Yeah, as a low. What are you talking?
I mean, look, I have top 5 defenses in like a different tier.
I don't really have them in a different tier. They're very close to me to some of these.
Yeah, teams. I think the top 6 really are, the top 6 in the league.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they just have everything. They addressed everything. Every hole they had in free agency. They didn't sign phenomenal players, but they signed good players. And if you're a good player on Bill Belichick's defense, you could turn into a great player. And because they have a bunch of good players, some of them are going to turn great. So you're going to have some great players with really good players, and it's just all going to mesh. It's going to work. Their problem is going to be, again, on offense, keeping the defense off the field. If they could just do that to any capacity, this defense could easily be top 5. This defense, I'm not worried about it. I know it's going to figure itself out, even with new faces. The one concern I would have for them, given this offseason, how everything's played out, they added linebackers, they added pass rushers. I'm good with it all. Mm-hmm. I want to see what's going to happen with Stephon Gilmore.
He's going to play. He's going to get extended.
And maybe at safety, I might have a little bit of a question mark. But I want to see. I don't know. I didn't like the trade rumors going around, and I just want to make sure if he's on the roster, I'm confident.
He's definitely going to be on the roster.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying he's going to get cut. I just want to make sure he plays, in a Patriot uniform.
Yeah, that's fair. So the same kind of. So out of all these teams, the Patriots don't have because a lot of the teams we mentioned have star players.
They don't have that.
For the Patriots, Gilmore. The only thing they have is a secondary, like Gilmore and J.C. Jackson. They definitely have one of the best just cornerback rooms in football.
Yeah,
something that Belichick loves, something that Flores loves. That's just a Patriot thing. You need to have it for your defense. That's what they have. And then other than that, it's a lot of depth. Like Cobb and Noyes back to the linebacker core is going to be drastically improved. Dante Hightower's come back. So no really questions. A little bit older in the linebacker core, but getting better than it was last year. Defense line's deeper, but there's no wouldn't even say there's any there's solid players. I don't think there's any very good players or even even good. They're just average.
No, I think they could be good players in that system. Judon's not going to get you 12 sacks. It's not.
Judon would be just rock solid, just a good player.
Yeah.
Other than him, I don't who they have a defense line Lawrence Guy. I think Adam Butler. I don't even know.
Yeah, they have role players.
Yeah, so that's my only question for them is still the defense line. I'm not really concerned. Even safeties McCourty's getting older. I get it, but I actually like Duggar, who they took in round 2 last year.
Who?
He's kind of he's like a missile. He hits really hard. So I don't know. Patriots overall, and this is a Bill Belichick team. Obviously we're mentioning some of the weaknesses, but secondary is really good. Guys coming back who's been in the system forever. So it's and even though this doesn't factor in for fantasy, it does. always like special teams, always like number 1 or 2 in the league. Just crazy stuff what they're doing. So if you're watching this for fantasy football, Patriots are probably a decent option this year. So who do you guys have at 4?
Well,
Well,
I need to go with 5.
That was your 5. All right, so 5 for me was the Patriots. Who's your guys?
So yeah, 5 is the Pats. That's what I'm saying. You got to have them in the top 5.
Oh, I'm 6, not far off.
Yeah, one difference.
It's not the top 5.
Yeah.
But you know,
number 5, I have the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
The Denver Broncos, I think, will be somehow, some way. I don't know if they'll be 3, 4, 5, even maybe 6, but I think they're a top 5 defense in the NFL.
So you think they're
this is reminiscent of no fly zone.
I said that to Ryan yesterday. This is no fly zone V2. That's crazy, bro.
That's what this is. Like at the very least, like that's just going to be a given. There's no way around it. Like you're not going to, and especially playing in Mile High, if like teams go to play there, you better have a good run game plan. You're not going to be able to throw the ball. Throw the ball on first or second down, try to make it 3rd and short, and you have to run it. 3rd and you're just not going to be able to throw the ball there. And again, I like what they did in their linebacking core because that was a huge question mark I had for them. I remember when Blake Martinez was a free agent. Actually, I thought that would be a good landing spot for him, but obviously he went to New York. And then the defensive line. I know you're worried about Von Miller and health wise, and then you said Bradley Chubb, like overrated, you think, but even with even with that, you don't need to be superstars on this defense. And I still think that I'm not going to say Von Miller's not a superstar until he's not one. He just needs to stay healthy. And then same thing with Bradley Chubb, early in his career still, but riddled with injuries, so he needs to stay healthy as well. But besides that, I'm not worried about defensive tackle. I'm not worried about defensive end, linebacker. I guess I could see why you'd want to see a star's name there, but even without a star's name, I think it's going to be a great defense. The only downfall I could see that could be possible for this defense is, Ryan, I think you mentioned it earlier, Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater not keeping drives alive. You keep drives alive and, give the defense ample rest, top 5 in the league.
Yeah,
I'm at 4, so I fully agree with that.
Markel mentioned yesterday. Like I do feel like Denver is one of the teams I'm too low on. Like, I'll stick to my point with Cleveland, but Denver kind of remind me of the team like kind of like the Niners the year they kind of made the Super Bowl. It was like they're coming off a bad season, right? Whether it was injury and just like new coaching change and everything. Like, and not that the Broncos are doing that, but like the talent is definitely like the top 5 defense. I feel like I'm gonna be wrong about them. I think you guys are right. I think they're gonna be in the top 10.
Yeah, but even if I have them ranked 5, even if they finish like 7th or 8th.
Nah, that's same. Still top 10 defense, one of the elite defenses in the league. Yeah, because like the talent's there, the coaching is there. The division's tough. That's the only thing. Like you are playing against Mahomes and Herbert, but like still.
So statistically, it's going to be like that. But
it doesn't matter.
Just don't even look at statistics. Just look at what they do outside of division or even in division. How much of a hard time they give Herbert, Mahomes.
They probably are. They're probably going to be the toughest matchup for these guys year in and year out. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4, I have the Ravens. I think you guys already both mentioned the Ravens. I really thought about dropping them. I really did because everything you guys said is true. They lost a lot of like depth, kind of like the Saints, but the Ravens even more so, in my opinion. Judon, I get the Ravens replace all these guys like year to year in the draft because like they're another team that kind of just like always one of the best teams that draft in the NFL, always get impact players. For me, they have like an aging team outside of the secondary. It's like Derek Wolf's in his 30s, like Calais Campbell. They actually didn't finish the year last year because of like how many snaps they were playing. They were literally playing like 80% of the snaps because they had to. I don't think the Ravens did a great job of like addressing that and like making it a priority to get like situational pass rushers in here. For me, it's just like it's honestly just trusting Baltimore, like trusting Winsdale, who's another really good defensive coordinator, trusting their secondary, which is like, in my opinion, I think they are the best. Just based off last year, like Marlon Humphrey causes like 8 fumbles a year. Like he's just a difference maker. And Marcus Peters, you guys know what he's up and down corner, but like year to year, he always gets game changing plays. And that happens like a few times a year where he takes the ball to the house or he causes a fumble. So like for me, like they're the 2 like most like what's the word, like opportunity corners, like I don't know. I can't speak English, but they get turnovers, both corners. Humphrey's like a shutdown corner too, in my opinion. Safeties are pretty good. The linebackers, though, for me, are their big concern.
Yep.
It's like we have Tyus Browser who can cover. Patrick Queen coming off a really disappointing year. And the rest of it, I think LJ Fort's still there. He's like, I don't even want to say average, like below average linebacker, and just a lot, like I said, an aging kind of defense in the defensive line. So that's
I think it's high for them.
It might be a little bit too high for them. It's probably out of respect for what they've been, and honestly, what they've been our whole entire lives, like year to year. Like even when they have questions, they still tend to figure it out. So 4 might be high. They might be closer to 8 to 10 range, but I do think they'll finish in the top 10 because they're still Baltimore.
Okay. Top 4 now?
That was my 4. So
my 4 is Broncos. I told you guys, yeah.
Okay. For me, this is where I have the Browns.
Wow. Browns higher than the Broncos?
Yes.
I can't see that happening, honestly. Especially I don't know.
That's what I think ends up happening. I think there's always a team every year that ends up being a top 5 defense that nobody saw coming because they put it all together. And I think finally the Browns have been trying for a few years now, but they've always had the hole at linebacker and they've always had the hole on the defensive line. And I think now they hit on them. And I think now this is the year where we put it all together because, again, not to go into it too much because I have to get going soon. I have something at 10 o'clock. But you still have Myles Garrett in his prime. You still have I like the additions they made on the defensive line. I know, Ryan, you might not be as big on it. I think JOK solves your question at linebacker that you've been looking for the past few years. I'm not worried about whatever heart condition I forgot if it was a heart or a leg. I forgot what it was coming out that made him drop.
It was a heart, but I think he's okay.
Yeah, and their secondary is going to be lethal. You know what I mean? They bring in the guy from Los Angeles, the safety. Why am I blanking on the name?
John Johnson.
John Johnson, right? So he's going to, again, be that answer at safety. You still have Ward. You still have the guy you took this year, Greg Newman, right? All of us, I know we're high on him.
He's my second corner in the draft, so.
Yeah, you have your guy from LSU coming back from injury.
Both of them, Greedy Williams and Grant Delpit.
Greedy Williams. So that's another safety, right? Depth. And that's another corner at depth. And it's just, it's too deep of a roster and the offense is too good. So you already know the defense is going to have time to breathe. And I think they added even more like first round talent to already a first round talent riddled defense. And I think this is the year it just comes all together. I think Cleveland has the potential to go on a run like Pittsburgh went last year.
Like a 10-0 run?
Something like that. Not win 10 straight, but
yeah.
I could see them winning like 10 out of the first 12.
Before we move, we'll talk about this later on in different episodes, but are the Browns winning the North? Because for me, they are.
100%. I could see them winning 10 out of the first 12 games.
Markel, are you with the Browns?
Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah. Very, very wholeheartedly could agree with that.
Yeah, they're just a really balanced team. I actually like their offense better than their defense, which is crazy. But
all right. Top 3, I think this is consensus, right? It's just a matter of where we rank them.
It's just hard. Yeah, it's just really hard. It depends what you like.
I have my order. So Ryan, start 3, 2, 1.
Actually, someone else start because I might flip 3 and 1.
All right, should I go 3, 2, 1?
Go 3, 2, 1.
All right, Rams, football team, Buccaneers.
Okay, I have Rams, Buccaneers, football team.
So I had it Washington, Tampa, Rams, but I'm flipping Washington to number 1.
Okay, so
I look, yeah, it's definitely I could agree with you guys on that. Very interchangeable between Tampa and Washington.
Tampa for me is staying 2.
Yep. All right, so Ryan, we have the same top 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should just stay with the Rams at 1.
Nah, you can't, dude. Because like at the end of the day, the other two have like very complete like defenses where you look and there's not a single player like, okay, why are you playing?
I'm gonna move.
I don't think the Rams is gonna be on par with that. But I think we're too blind to what they did on offense with Stafford and then just the names that they have on defense. I'm still worried about their linebacking core. I'd like better play out of them.
Moving to 3 because Staley's gone. If Staley was there, I'd trust him to be number 1 again because they were number 1 last year by a wide margin, just in all the rankings. So, but they lost their defensive coordinator. They lost John Johnson and they lost Troy Hill.
So that's going to hurt.
So, yeah, moving to 3.
I can give you guys football team at 1 though, just because they did address like what they needed.
I had them here at 1, but like just when you consider the reason why I would have them at 1 if we were making an argument, it's like Aaron Donald, literally the best defensive player in football. Like no one even close. Like there's a lot of good interior defense linemen. No one is close to Aaron Donald. Jalen Ramsey. Best corner in football, in my opinion. And if you don't like him at number 1, he's at least number 2, like one of the few shutdown corners. So they have those 2 guys, and they have who's the Darius Williams, right? The other corner. I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah, on the other side,
undrafted, phenomenal year. So one of the best secondaries still. So that's why I could make an argument, but there are some holes, obviously. Even Leonard Floyd, they brought him back. Like I know he's not like a star player, but in that
he just needs to be more consistent.
in that specific defense though, like if he puts up another 11, 12 sack season, that's a good player for them. But obviously, besides him, it's like a lot of questions at linebacker. I think they were like playing Kenny
Yeah.
Young this year and a few other players.
So that's why I had him at there. I couldn't put him above the other two because there's zero holes in Washington football team and Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
There's zero holes.
So yeah, I'll put the Rams at 3 too. So Tampa, why do you have Tampa at 2? We all have Tampa at 2, right?
My
I
question,
have the one.
the
But, like,
only,
I could see as to why you guys like can interchange them.
yeah, I don't even want to spend too much time on Chase Young or Shaq Barrett and waste time. We know who the defensive lines are. My difference maker was obviously I think William Jackson was the difference maker in Washington, and I'm more concerned about not the safeties in Tampa, but their corners.
That's what I was saying to Markel yesterday. Like, I know they had a good playoff run. The whole defense went on a super big
But
run.
the beginning of the year they were like liabilities, and I don't think that I'm not saying that they're going to be liabilities again,
They
but
got better.
I'm
They're
just saying
not
I
soft.
think they overachieved in the secondary
They went on
in
a
the
run.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like they had a phenomenal run in the playoffs. Like they were
Like I'm taking Washington football team's corner room over Tampa's, and that's
for
just
sure.
that was my difference maker.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
And the thing
I'll
is,
give you that. But at the same time, I'll take the linebackers of Tampa Bay over the linebackers.
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
any day,
By
though,
far.
any day.
That's
by
what it
far.
was. I valued like Devin White dude, just someone that can go sideline to sideline in like 2 seconds. Can't beat
Agreed.
that.
Listen,
for me.
it's a fun debate because Tampa honestly might be deeper because like they don't really have a lot of holes. Like Washington, we feel like replaced some of the holes, like William Jackson, even adding Jamin Davis, even if you didn't like him as a first round pick, at least
They
his
needed the position.
second round talent. And last year, like I don't even know who played linebacker for them last year in the middle. So that clear hole like that they addressed. They also added Benjamin St. Jude from like Minnesota.
Yeah, I wasn't as high on him, but again, it was just
He might be a
addressing
starter
holes.
though. He could be a starter in a year too.
Yeah.
Depth for the team. I love what's his name. Washington secondary, in my opinion, is better. I love Kendall Fuller. He's one of my favorite like slot corner. I hope they move him back to slot this year, Washington. I could see why Markel, like you have Tampa, like Devin White, and even Levante David. He actually might be a Hall of Famer, Levante David. Like I know he has never gotten any recognition, but now that Brady's there, and the run Tampa's about to go on again, he's getting obviously recognition. Tampa's on every national game. But for me, the one big difference, and as good as Shaq Barrett is, as he's been, Tampa's defensive line is older, all of them. Shaq Barrett's in his 30s, Jason Pierre-Paul's in his 30s, Sue's in his mid-30s, McClennan's in his mid-30s. The Washington football team have the best defensive line in football, like in terms of ends, tackles. It's not even close.
And they're only entering the prime.
Yeah,
And-
Ioannidis is even there.
Yeah.
Tim Settle. And if we're being honest, like Chase Young is a freak. Like he's going to be like possibly better than Myles Garrett. And if not, like that little like white.
They're going to be top 2, top
Chase
3.
Young was already a top 10 pass rusher last year. I think he's going to be like top 5 this year with some freakish. Like Chase Young was better than Nick Bosa in college.
Yeah, it's going to be them. It's going to be the Bosa brothers. Those are going to
Yeah.
be the best guys at the position.
And so like that's the one difference. Like Chase Young year 2 and just that defensive line. And then them adding obviously William Jackson too.
And then the Fitzmagic effect.
Not even that. He has nothing to do with this.
He has nothing to do with this.
All right.
All right, so that's all 32.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So before we end it, right? Because I know you have to go, Peter. So give me 2 teams that you think you're low on, and maybe 2 teams you think you're high on. If we had to.
Yeah, for me, I think maybe too low on the Steelers, and maybe too low on the Chargers if they could stay healthy.
Okay.
2 teams I'm high on. Obviously, it's probably gonna be Cleveland and Denver. I have them both in my top 5.
I think you're gonna pan out for one of them for sure. So for me, the 2 teams I'm way too low on. I think Denver. That might be like the most laughable one because I have my 13. That's closer to average than like the high one. And I'm gonna be biased. I think the Jets. Out of all the teams in the AFC East, if you ask me what defense do I want in the year, I'm taking the Jets. In 1 year's time, I'm taking the Jets out of all of them.
That's bold. Okay.
And the 2 teams that I'm too high on is probably the Ravens and let's see. I almost went with one of the bottom teams. I don't know who to put. Honestly, maybe the Cardinals. I'm at 20, which is still not high. I don't know. I really feel like the Cardinals are gonna like implode this year. Like there's gonna be like a very like they're gonna be a close to 500 team. I just think it's gonna be all Kyler Murray again and Hopkins. with like Cliff Kingsbury kind of on the hot seat. I just think a lot will go wrong. Like we're not even sure Isaiah Simmons' use. Like Vance Joseph, I think is not really a great defensive coordinator. So I'll go with the Cardinals. They're not even ranked high for me, but I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. I think there's a very good chance I might be in the bottom like half of the league for defenses outside of the pass rush. Major questions, secondary, and even linebackers for me. So I'll go with the Cardinals.
Teams I'm low on, probably like the Panthers
Carolina.
and the Jets, I would say.
I'm trying to tell you guys the Jets. The Jets might have a rise like the Giants did last year, which kind of
yeah, that's what it is. Like you guys might just come out swinging and like you guys just might figure it out.
I don't think it's gonna happen right away. So like if someone comes like back to this episode in week 2 or 3, like I'm talking about like toward from week 8 on, like once players get used to the system, like it's only year 1 here, but like I'm just saying I think by the end of the year people are gonna be excited about the Jets in general, but especially the defense.
2 teams I'm high on, probably the Browns. Yeah, the Browns and man. I want to say the Giants can take the leap from 8, but there's so many good teams ahead of them. That's just like probably not.
It's a tough question because like obviously you don't know like injuries would happen.
Yeah.
And then
damn.
What's funny is I almost said the Raiders when we were talking about like 2 teams I'm too high on. I had them at 29.
Dude, I might even like, no disrespect, but I might even be a little bit high on like the Ravens, honestly, putting them at 9. I might drop them to like 11.
I said the Ravens, so I have them at 4. It's probably too high. But that's fair. Look, they're good, fun questions that we're gonna like see how the season goes and like what happens. Obviously, glaring any like major injury because like that'll destroy a defense, most defenses anyway. So.
Before we ended, I just want everybody to know that you guys did not mention one team that you're both too low on, being the Carolina Panthers.
No, I did. That was my first team I mentioned.
Oh, you did?
Markella didn't mention them. I was thinking.
So if you could do it again, where would you put them? I think 15, 16 is more than fair. That's middle of the league.
18.
I would move them to
18.
I move them to 19. I move them up 2 spots if I could.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I gave you 4 spots. He gave you 3.
And
I'll take it.
I really want to put the Jets at 15. I think like, I already moved. I had them in when I first did my first like 1.0. I had them like 21. I was like, this is too low. I was looking at these teams.
Everybody get ready because we're gonna see training camp, right? We're gonna see all this stuff, mandatory mini camp. We're gonna see Zach Wilson throw. We're gonna see the defense doing anything, literally anything. They could just be walking on the field. Ryan's gonna be like, all right, we're cracking the top 10.
Not top 10. I mean, that'd be amazing if it happened.
All right, 11, 12.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Quinnen Williams has to be healthy because right now he's not. So, like, this is all assuming our guys are going to play. Like, Carl Lawson, Quinnen Williams, CJ Mosley. But I'm excited. And if you guys – this is not defensive related, but Elijah Moore's been killing it, like, apps every day. So, fantasy reasons. Elijah Moore, late round sleeper. Mr. Crowder has a contract situation that I don't know what's happening with. So,
oh, boy. All right, boys.
All right, boys.
Been a good episode. Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, talk to you guys soon.